just the manner that they do it is so cute. They hired a lady to go with her iPhone to act like she's a YouTuber, to be a little bit aggressive. They swatted her with 3 police officers right there against her car. So I want to dive into a little bit about this political party here in Japan. And then I want to shift over and I want to see some interesting moments of foreigners in Japan. I've been seeing this new political group. Or not new, they've been around since about 2020, 2021, 2022, whenever the pandemic was hitting. I don't follow Japanese politics too much, but I do like to pay attention. You know, I live here. I'm unable to vote. I'm just a long-term resident. But this one has been a little bit more interesting to me because a lot of my friends who are Japanese who do vote point these things out to me, especially because in Japan, a political party can't have advertising in the same ways that other countries do. It's quite interesting. So each time that there's a political cycle here in Japan, it's very obvious because how politicians have to promote themselves is physically. So they need to be physically going around town. They have their campaign with them. They're usually in person greeting communities around stations, around active spots. That's kind of the way that politicians here get the word out, is really just word of mouth. So it's not like they have commercial campaigns or anything going on like that. Back in the States, a lot of what you see is through commercials, social media. Those kind of digital platforms are used for advertising their campaigns and their values. Whereas here in Japan, you'll literally see people who support the party there kind of advertising for that party, or you'll see the politician themselves. It's really interesting. I don't always understand it. Again, I don't follow it too closely. But the reason why I'm interested in this party now is because my friends really point this party out. Now, I was at the beach a weekend ago. I was at the beach this past weekend, which is great as well. But a week prior, this group was out near the station where I go out to the beach. And, you know, they were a pretty lively bunch. They have bright yellow colors. I've never seen them before. My friends, they're letting me know who this group is. So this is a more of a far right group that's emerged in Japan that is specifically known as being a more anti-foreigner than any other group. There's also been some wild stories that I've heard about how they've been, I don't know to the extent of harassing people, but definitely getting into some people's face, being a little bit more controversial. So I wanted to do some learning about them just to catch myself up. And that's also what I want to share here a little bit. So I want to dive into a little bit about this political party here in Japan. And then I want to shift over and I want to see some interesting moments of foreigners in Japan.
Now, let's talk about the Sanseito, or the do-it-yourself party.
So Sanseito, or the do-it-yourself party, is this bright orange group over here. They're still quite small in comparison to a lot of the other parties, but they've grown a lot recently. There's so many parties. This political system is very, very different than the States, where we have predominantly just two major parties. Here you have a lot of parties popping up, coming in, fading out all the time. And so most times people don't pay attention to new or smaller parties. But Sanseito has been gaining a lot of traction. As I mentioned, even going to my beach, which I go to most weekend during the summer, I was able to see them. I was able to kind of hear what they're about. So it's quite interesting to see a smaller party have such a big presence.
Their rise in popularity has surprised a lot of people. Out of the 10 nationally recognized parties, only 2 lean strongly conservative: Sanseito and Nihon Hoshito. The LDP is conservative, but it's a catch-all party that includes both liberal and conservative wings. Sanseito and Nihon Hoshito are ideologically conservative. A survey last year shows that half of the people.
So I think having a lot of different parties where people can find different values that they want to stand up for is quite great. And now, this party is rising for specific reasons. It's rising because they're kind of mirroring the stateside America's like anti-foreigner sentiment. And that's one of the strongest reasons why this group is rising, in my opinion, and in the opinions of Japanese people that I know here.
People in their teens to 30s get their information from X. Another statistic from the same report shows that while most people in Japan still get news from TV, social media is quickly catching up.
So, out of all the parties that are here, the ones who are on social media are getting a big rise in how Gen Z or how people nowadays are getting their information from political things. Still, television and newspaper are still strong up there. Newspaper is going down. Not a lot of people are using that as much. But definitely coming up through social media using TikTok or Instagram, YouTube or X. Those are a lot of ways that especially younger people are consuming and developing opinions on these political parties.
Among the 10 national parties, newer groups like the DPP, Reiwa Shinsengumi, and Sanseito have done especially well using social media. Now, I haven't talked about this much on the channel, but there's been growing attention online to incidents.
So there's always a lot of different, I guess, racially charged problems going on around Japan. I mean, Japan is, still very, very nationalistic and not as diverse as we like to think. I think social media presents, especially Tokyo, as being a very diverse place, but even Tokyo, being such a large city that it is still dominantly Japanese. That's why a lot of these kind of, I guess, quote unquote, problems are still happening. I think any country is going to have this same kind of like charge with foreigners going on, just because I think that's just how people do with lack of understanding, a little bit of ignorance going on. But some of these problems are really resonating with people in the Tokyo area right now.
Involving Kurdish immigrants in Kawaguchi, and some reported problems involving Chinese nationals. These clips often go viral on X and YouTube.
Now, because a lot of the younger people who are consuming their news through SNS, they're getting it because a lot of the problematic things that are happening are also the things that go viral. So things that they see going viral, such as maybe a racially charged action or a foreigner causing a scene on a train, that gets a lot more traction to people nowadays. And these parties who are also active on social media platforms are able to take advantage of that more than other parties. Like I said, majority of these parties, they can't legally advertise themselves through like commercials or through ways that a lot of other countries do. So they're more in person, but they can still have a presence on social media. So their presence on social media, their activity, combined with things that are going viral that kind of match their sentiment, are giving them a bigger platform than a lot of other parties are used to getting. And this is something that's still a little bit new to Japan.
Even in parliament, lawmakers have raised concerns about housing schemes tied to Chinese immigrants. There was also
So these are some of the sentiments that this conservative party, the Sanseito, the Just Do It party, kind of resonate with.
a viral story of an 18-year-old Chinese citizen involved in a fatal DUI crash. Just recently, the Nikkei reported that chemicals used to produce fentanyl, allegedly trafficked by a Chinese criminal group based in Nagoya, were being shipped through Japan into the United States. Additionally,
so these kinds of things grab a lot of attention, right? And a lot of people are looking at them as like, oh, okay, well, that's foreigners that are largely doing this. And that just increases the kind of anti-foreigner sentiment. It also mirrors what's happening in the States, because I do vote in America's politics. I do pay attention to things that are going over there. I'm from Texas, where Texas is on the border with Mexico. So we hear a lot of that rhetoric that talks about drugs crossing the border and foreigners being the reason for these kinds of problems. I mean, it's just kind of like a common tactic that a lot of parties use, and a lot of people you know, kind of feel that same sentiment.
Restrict foreigners from buying land, and many voters feel the conservative-led government isn't acting fast enough. Sanseito's Japan First message is resonating, and it makes sense that voters who care about these issues will shift in their direction.
Yeah.
Mainstream media tends to overlook parties like Sanseito and Nihon Hoshito in their coverage, and I think that helps reinforce their outsider appeal. With the rise of conservative movements in the US and Europe, it's not surprising that some voters in Japan are looking for something similar. For many,
So as an American, what happens in American politics not only matters because I vote there, because it's where I'm from, but because I understand that living abroad, it influences so many other countries. Japan being so closely tied to US politics, whatever's happening over there is going to bleed in over here. And this is a really good example of that. That's why I find it interesting. That's why I want to talk about it a little bit. I'm not particularly one that talks about politics or likes to have discussions with my friends about these things, but I do find it interesting how it's bleeding over a little bit more. And even I'm kind of seeing this.
them, that party seems to be the Sanseito.
Now let's hear a little bit more about them.
The Do-It-Yourself Party, or Sanseito, is a relatively new political party founded in 2020. The party first gained national attention after winning a seat in the 2022 upper house election, officially qualifying as a national political party under Japanese law. In the 2020
So 2022 they start, and 2024 they gain a little bit of more
House
traction
election,
here.
it secured the COVID-19 pandemic.
So this is some of the things that they're that the right wing kind of has some sentiment with. This group Sanseito, the Just Do It party, came up around the pandemic. During the pandemic, this anti-vaccination, anti-globalist message grew quite a bit. I think a lot of countries experience that same thing because borders are closed and everybody's looking for a reason to blame the pandemic on other people. They're thinking about their safety a little bit more. So it's a very ripe climate for these kind of messages to gain more traction, and the Sanseito party has done just that. So they've gained a couple seats over the years.
Rhetoric, anti-globalist messaging, and opposition to public health measures during the COVID-19 pandemic. The combined tax and social insurance burden at 35%. Monetary policy.
So they're not just about the anti-foreigner stuff. I mean, that's mostly what I see them through the lens of, because when I see them out, that's what my Japanese friends bring up as being the largest thing. One thing that's mentioned is not just their anti-foreigner sentiment, but they're also leaning really far into a more traditional family style. So they're a party that kind of believes that a women's role is at home, which is very traditional mindset here in Japan. That's still quite common. I think a traditional family role is still very popular here, but they're leaning more into that anti-LGBTQ. So they're resonating with a lot of people who have that same values, but it's also opposite values that me and my friends have. So it's quite interesting to see it.
Supports the US-Japan Security Alliance, but also argues that Japan should develop a more independent defense posture, including stronger deterrence capabilities. On immigration, the party promotes a strict stance, warning against what it describes as a silent invasion. They seek to limit the proportion of foreign residents in any community to 5%, tighten naturalization requirements, and limit social welfare to foreigners who have lived in Japan for over a year.
So my opinion on immigration, at least, Japan has been closed off for lots of its history, and especially right now with decline in birth rates, their workforce here needs a lot of support from outside people. The problem, in my opinion, I'm not an expert on it, but in my opinion, is that the Japanese mindset or their unity and their culture really strongly ties them towards a certain way of life and of work. And it's hard to break out of that, even if you're Japanese, even if you're more open-minded Japanese. And it really is only going to be with the help of immigrants here that can change the climate over time. And without that, You know, it's already proven that Japan's population is in decline. I think that it does need a lot of extra help to push it in a more positive direction. Something that I think that Japan alone can't really carry. That's just because of how the culture is so tied to a certain way of acting or being, that even those Japanese people who try and make that change are then looked at as being different or being an outsider or not being truly Japanese. And I think that that's so strange that that happens.
Year. On education, Sanseito promotes curricula rooted in Shinto values in Japan's ancestral traditions. They oppose excessive medications and mandatory vaccinations. The party supports legalizing euthanasia, citing the high proportion of medical costs allocated to elderly care. They oppose LGBT legislation and advocate for a traditional family unit. Regarding energy and the environment, Sanseito seeks to withdraw
So
migration.
let's see.
Sanseito essentially began as an anti-lockdown party, arguing against mandatory mask wearing and vaccinations. And this was basically their platform for the 20.
So it was really funny. So during pandemic, you know, in Japan, it was quite calm, so to say, because a lot of people are already quite respectful of others. So wearing a mask was something that a lot of people are already used to. It's a little bit more normalized. So things seem to be easy to follow the rules here. A lot of people follow the rules. Well, these anti-vaccine groups, you would see them around Shibuya Station. They have large megaphones, large signs. It's very, very typical of what you would see over here. And so it's quite likely that this group, I've already passed by many times, but it's not until recently into this political cycle that I've seen their bright orange colors kind of pop out a bit more.
2022 election for Japan's upper house. These elections used a mixed electoral system, with 75 seats elected at the constituency level and a further 50 seats elected via a party list system across the whole country. Now, Sanseito didn't win any constituency seats, but they won 3.5% of the party list vote, enough for one seat, which went to Kamiya. Once the pandemic subsided, most commentators expected Sanseito to fall off, not least because niche parties have a habit of appearing and disappearing very quickly in Japan, especially on the right, because their leadership are often subsumed by the LDP. However, that didn't happen, and Sanseito successfully pivoted to a full.
So this is something that happened that is, I find it interesting. So with the passing of Abe-san, who used to be in charge of the strongest party over here, it kind of left more of a gap for Sanseito to take up a little bit more on the further right side. So them going from one seat, they went from one seat. I think in this recent election they have about 3 or 4 now.
There's a fair bit of ideological overlap between Sanseito's politics and Kamiya's YouTube channel, and Kamiya also likes to draw parallels with
This guy right here is the head of the party, so he's the one that started the party.
Trump's America First doctrine. For instance, Sanseito focuses a lot on immigration. They want to make it harder for foreigners to buy land in Japan, deny foreigners voting rights, and reduce the flow of foreign workers, on the grounds that foreigners apparently commit more crime and take welfare away from Japanese families. This is in large part a reaction to recent reforms to Japan's immigration system, which have loosened work visa requirements to reduce labor shortages and offset Japan's demographic.
Which I think is a good thing. There's a crisis going on. Low birth rates, or like the work culture here is a little bit too toxic, for lack of better words, for Japanese people, that a lot of times changing the environment, having more foreigners kind of mix in this is what can help lead to some positive change.
Although we should of course say that Japan still has one of the most restrictive immigration systems and the lowest immigration rates in the developed world.
Absolutely.
So what explains Sanseito's relative success?
So which leads into the sentiment of like foreigner fatigue, gaijin fatigue, people who are a little bit tired of foreigners coming here, causing all these problems. Not understanding respect, not understanding how to sit on a train, not understanding how to hold chopsticks right.
ぱり増えてくるっていう風になると、中にはもう外国人嫌だみたいな、戸惑いをサポートしてみたいなことがうまくできないような段階、差別につながってくリスクもあると思いますし。
People have access to social media and they see more. Oh, white people are like this. Like they're scratching the surface, but I think it's also very shallow.
日本人はあまり休みがないから外国はあまり行けないのがわかりますけど。
This is a good point here. So only a small percentage of Japanese people actually have an opportunity to travel abroad. So a lot of their exposure, which is still crazy, it's 2025 and it still kind of blows my mind, but their exposure to foreigners is largely through social media. That's why whenever there is some kind of racially charged activity going on here in Japan, and it gains some kind of social media traction, it's often a big deal. It's often seen as, oh, this is what that people group is like, because a lot of Japanese people don't have the open-mindedness or the diversity from traveling abroad to a lot of other places. You know, I can speak from back in the States. We still have this problem as well. We're not excluded from it back in the States. Back in Texas, there's some people I would know that would never leave Texas. Texas is so big, you can drive 9 hours and still be in Texas, which is crazy. But a lot of people are still there in their hometown. They don't really get out and explore much. They only are exposed to the groups of people that they grew up with. So even for them, they would have the same idea. So it's not just a Japan thing, but pointing it out here because this person is mentioning and making the point that what they see on social media oftentimes is the only exposure that they're having with foreigners.
でもあまり好奇心がないからあまりなんかもうこれがだからもうそれで足りるみたい。
People don't go outside Japan.
No, they don't. It seems like Japan doesn't want that, actually. The way they teach their people is taught how to stay in Japan, even through the languages.
So when I first came to Japan, I was doing a little bit of English teaching, and you can see how I worked for a private academy, but you can see how in the public system, they don't really integrate not just English, but a lot of foreign studies in the same way that I feel a lot of other countries are. You know, whenever I was teaching English, Japanese people are a little bit more timid with approaching the language, not wanting to make mistakes. There's some like cultural things that are part of that versus like a Korean student who doesn't mind making mistakes, kind of goes all in. And it's also just a result of the culture here embracing, you know, more of a global idea and global introduction rather than just being Japanese or just being Korean or just being Chinese. And I think this guy makes a good point. A lot of times they're just not giving the opportunity to be as open-minded.
The way people start learning English extremely late. People are not taught here how to just articulate themselves in a way that is more confident. So when they
Now, is that a bad thing? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think, you know, they need to have, you know, like an American studies or English studies so much in their system. But you know, to add on to his point, I think it's more of just like they're not really embracing the cultural diversity or the opportunity to integrate English into their society as well as a lot of other places are. And as a result, there's some problems that are happening. You know, a Japanese person does not at all need to speak English. Why would they need to speak English? But living in a place like Tokyo, where there's a lot of opportunities, where the majority of a lot of younger people are moving into the cities for work, English is very, very important. It's only going to become even more important as things go on.
go in different countries, I feel super bad for them. I see Japanese people in my city, in Montreal, and I'm just like, okay, how are they gonna survive? They stay together because it's so different for them. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
The safety concern might be the biggest reason for not going abroad, which totally makes sense and definitely not just
Good to understand like why they're not traveling.
See how dangerous and how expensive outside Japan is. It feels like Japan's 10 times more safe and cheaper, especially nowadays.
I absolutely agree with this. Being here in Japan, with how safe it is, with how you can expect a certain kind of high quality service when you go out, These are things that you lose immediately whenever you go to other countries that are still first world countries, but you lose this amount of luxury. So, if I grew up here, yeah, what's the big draw to go to another country? Unless I want to be a tourist and go sightseeing somewhere like Italy or Paris, like what's the point of going out, of traveling whenever it's so nice here, whenever it's so safe here, and all I hear about these other countries is just a lot of crime and things. But even with the safety that we have here, we still have a lot of problems here in Japan as well. I just think they look at it through a little bit more of a crystal lens than what it is.
やっぱり女性として夜中にちょっとコンビニ行きたいなって言って行ける感覚って
If you haven't watched Kaho stuff with Connor Sea Dog, they're hilarious together.
すごくありがたいので、そんなになんかアメリカでの需要が大きいならアメリカに引っ越したとか、いや物価考えてみろと思いますし、オタクだから日本以外行きたいとこないと思いますね。
I think that's a very, very strong point. So to any introvert, I think you resonate with that. Being an introvert, why would you want to go out at all? Especially whenever Japan embraces introverts so well, like otakus. They feel like they have their space. They're not judged as strongly as some other countries would judge them. They can be who they are in their own spaces and be fine. So why leave it?
そうなるかなと。いろんな世界見てみたいから旅行したいとかあるかもしれないですけど、住むとかっていう感覚は他のところに生まれるのかなっていうのは。
And that's kind of sad to think about. That people don't want to explore the world more, because just how other places don't embrace what they want so much. And tying that back into the beginning, that's why I think it's easy for a lot of people to have anti-foreigner sentiment or to get a little bit tired of foreigners, because they can see how good they have it here. And so whenever a foreigner is coming here and kind of messing things up, of course, it can cause a little bit of chaos.
To Japan, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah, when I'm in the Netherlands and I went to dinner and the dinner was like 38 euros, I was like,
it's expensive.
Anybody who's living here in Japan as a foreigner coming here, we can agree with those same points. Whenever I'm here in Japan, I can expect a good quality of service, but whenever I go back to the States, it's just different. I wouldn't say it's always bad, but it's different, and a lot of times I can't expect a consistency throughout every place that I go.
Then open your mind. This is a global world now. Whole planet is a village. Everyone is one of villager. Try to help everyone.
Japan.
I think that's something that is a great mindset, to just think about people as being a village, and we're all here to help people. But unfortunately, not a lot of people have that same way of thinking. And so that's, I think, why a lot of this Sanseito party is gaining some traction. Now, I mean, they're still quite small. They're not like a big party that's coming out, but I wanted to talk a little bit about them, just because I've seen them around. I've seen how they've been growing a little bit more popularity. I see how my friends who do vote in Japanese elections are discussing them and how they view them. So I just wanted to bring that up over here before jumping into some videos about some of the dumb things that foreigners do in Japan. You can see
TV is famous for being crazy. But did you know
they have a lot of wild things going on? So let's see some. This is the worst gaijin moments on Japanese TV. This is a little bit different. This is actually maybe some interviews, some maybe people who are on Japanese television, rather than just viral moments that are going on social media.
a huge part of Japanese entertainment is watching foreigners embarrass themselves while they're in Japan?
So being a model, there are some model opportunities to be on Japanese television. And so far, I haven't accepted any of them because a lot of times they're going to put you in a role that is kind of funny. And just depending on what type of, I guess, persona you want to have as a model, you maybe would accept that job or you maybe wouldn't. I'm in the place to where I wouldn't. and this video is a good reason why.
As someone who's also embarrassed themselves on Japanese TV more than once, I'm no stranger to all of this, which is why today I will be your guide to Baka Gaijin entertainment. So where does this fascination towards foreigners come from? Well, most of us look different, sound different, customs, which
so okay. If you haven't seen Japanese television, this is what it looks like. A lot of reality, or not in reality shows, but a lot of daytime TV is comedians or TV hosts who are talking through different things, and they have a lot of skits. And so if they're bringing on foreigners, they're oftentimes going to have some kind of way of how it's contrasting with Japanese culture, maybe a little bit funny. And it's all mostly fun and games. Let's check it out a little bit. Yeah, Charlie, I think it's interesting myself, so I want to share it over here and talk about it. Because I know like every political climate has similar things, right? We all have our different opinions on parties, and I'm not here to necessarily share my opinion. I'm just highlighting a growing party here in Japan and why it's been brought to my attention and why I've been a little bit more interested in it a little bit lately. But yeah, it's just kind of like also a fun fact to see what's happening in Japan. You know, a lot of people don't get to be on their way to the beach and outside of the station and see bright orange flags and people shouting in megaphones. And then I ask my Japanese friend, oh, what are they talking about? What are they saying? And them to tell me, oh, they're the group that is like anti-foreigner and stuff like that. Like, that's not a normal experience for most people. So I'm just sharing that experience out to people here. I think Texas has a lot of parallels. I mean, Texas being the South, Texans being Texan, Texas being more right-leaning than anything. Yeah, there's a lot of crossovers. Yeah, howdy. Now that I know that you're from Texas, I can say howdy as well. Howdy. We need to get more Texas people in here. Let's see what this is about. Let's relax a little bit from the politics. Let's have some ha-has, hee-hees, yee-haws. just I can't handle. I'm already cringing so much because just looking at the people who go on this show, the foreigners here, it's just, it hurts that they're representing even me. But part of me loves it. Part of me is like cringing so hard. It's just like, it makes me feel a certain way that I don't want to feel.
Here's the thing. It's fully okay to like Japanese pop culture. I like it myself too. But you never go full weeaboo. I mean, even in America,
that's the point. That's the point. That's a clear line between somebody who is just enjoying things that they enjoy, and then being a weeaboo is going too far into it. Going all out weeaboo is something that maybe you should keep to yourself. Because whenever it's seen in public, especially here in Japan, in Shibuya, whenever you see it, sometimes it is a very cringy, interesting thing.
Everyone loves Star Wars. People are gonna think you're weird if you get a soygasm while watching it. And if there's one person I wish knew about
during Star Wars is actually kind of cool. That's the exception.
this, it'll be the one we're visiting next.
No way. No way. Wait, to be honest, if I was able to meet an idol that I really liked, I would probably have his same reaction. I can't bash on his reaction for meeting an idol. Okay, now maybe this is a little too far. I do not think that I would react in the same way that he's doing. I mean, his Japanese is quite good. But it's a little too cheerful for me. So okay, can I point this out? Is so in most languages, whenever you speak it, it has a kind of a masculine or neutral way of speaking, and then a feminine way of speaking as well. And just saying his is a little bit more on the feminine side, but I can't, which is fine. It's okay. But what I can't figure out is if that's because his Japanese that he's learned is from idols or from like anime, and that's how he's expressing himself is in that animated manner, which it seems like that's what it's coming across to me. Which kind of leans into that weeaboo a little bit more, is like they take this personality, which is quite funny, and Japanese people love it. This is why it's on TV. This is why an idol is going out to meet somebody, because they love these reactions. They love that kind of over the top aesthetic.
I know this Aitor guy is a bit weird, but you know, whatever. Like, he's
I
probably.
mean, let him live his life. Let him live his life. Let's see some more triggering things that foreigners would do, rather than just some lighthearted stuff. Because it's not just bad things that they do. People come here, they're enjoying the culture as they want to enjoy it, and that's fine. If I cringe at it, that's because that's what I find cringe, right? It's not saying that there's anything wrong with them.
Hey friends,
It's just
Taki
cringe,
here.
right?
So one
Just
of my
cringe.
last videos that I
Aki's
made
great. I
here
love watching her
was me
videos.
talking about Japan influencers are lying to you. I swear some of these people are very fit and very athletic. I have respect that, you know, they're on the grind.
Let's see what she has.
there's
So
a
I've never
time and
watched this
place for
video yet.
everything, and for some reason they decided to bring the grind to Japan in a place that you really shouldn't do it. So let's watch it. Come on, man.
She's probably going to say the same thing that I'm going to say. So these red torii gates, it's at an Inari shrine, which is the shrine that has a lot of these foxes over here. You can see right next to the girl's knees. These shrines are typically for businesses to go to, like, get more good fortune for their business, right? So these red torii gates are generally donated by a business or a family to the shrine. So just like working out on it or doing something like that, you're literally working out on what somebody has donated, what costs a lot of money to give to this shrine, not only as a donation to them, but it's this business's opportunity to ask for more fortune for the business, and you're just over here doing chin-ups on it.
Oh man.
Like a street pole, maybe. A street pole, okay, fine. A torii gate that's been donated, that if you break that, it's going to cost a lot of money. Not a good idea.
Man. Oh my god. Okay, let me just break.
she's already frustrated too, right? Sue, all the Japanese that you know is from animes. Hey, that's more than enough that you need. More than enough. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant and it can get you through a conversation to order from a menu, that's fine. That's great. Now, if you're doing over the top, exaggerated kind of monologues that don't really mean anything, that's just not going to fit into, you know, your daily use of Japanese. It's not going to help you too much. I don't get what goes through people's minds here whenever they choose to do this. Like, are they just not understanding that it's something that's valuable to that property? Like, it's not necessarily public property. It's not something that's open to do that. That's why it says like if it's maybe like a street pole, a light pole or something like that, that makes a little bit more sense. That's still something that I wouldn't advise doing anything on, because if you break that, that's public property. Like that's also not to do, not good to do. Just work out in a normal place. Go to a Japanese park with a nice aesthetic garden where they have like these monkey bars, and do it there. You'd still be able to be in Japan. You'd still be able to have a cool aesthetic, or just bring your own build to set up next to it. Wait, what's one piece Japanese that you know? Teach me what One Piece is teaching. Bring it, guys. Bring it. Tacho Kuchan, get over here. Let's get some One Piece Japanese lingo. Let's see. Can we find anything? Oh, where's my audio?
What does it actually mean? What does One Piece mean?
One Piece anime?
What does it actually mean?
One Piece?
It's a different spelling. One Piece would have made a lot of sense too.
One Piece. One Piece.
What if it was supposed to be spelled peace?
Yeah, so something that's funny, at work, we created a new system to where it was like there's like a 3-part system that we combined to make a one piece system. You see where I'm going with this? And so my coworkers who aren't really into anime, they were like, okay, well, we need a cool name for this. So One Piece, we'll just call it One Piece. It used to be like a 3-piece, so we'll do a one piece. Like a bikini, you know, like a split bikini, a 2-piece bikini in Japanese. If it's a one piece, they call it One Piece, right? A blouse or something like that, it's connected, like a romper or whatever, it's one piece. So they called this system that we made that combined 3 pieces into one piece the One Piece. And I think I'm the only one there that understands where this is coming from. And so in one of our meetings to where we were discussing this system, I added the logo for One Piece, you know, like the title logo. I added that into our meeting notes. So whenever it popped up, I wanted to see who's going to understand the reference that we've all been referencing to. And it was so funny because there was a really, really chill Japanese guy that I get along with that he sees it and he just starts looking over at me and he gets what I'm talking about and he laughs a little bit. I was like, yeah, you know, we've been saying this the whole time. Like, how are you not connecting the dots to One Piece there? Like, why would you not want to have the logo of One Piece stand out for like our internal project? Love it. So you guys have this Japanese going on in Discord too. That's awesome. Guys, y'all are awesome. I love that.
Break this down of
Let's see what Hockey says.
Bad this is. Have you ever gone to a mosque and just randomly did push-ups? No? Great. Don't do it.
Yep, good point. Good point. You wouldn't go to a church, to a mosque. You wouldn't take advantage of their doorways just to work out.
Have you ever gone
so why
to
do
a
it over
Catholic
here?
church and just done pull-ups on the cross? No? Great.
Just going into a Catholic church and drinking the holy water. Like, that's a normal thing to do, right? No, it's not.
Don't do it.
Exactly.
I get people don't know the importance of Tory gates, but I mean, oh man.
So this stuff on SNS gets traction. Going back to that Sanseito party, the Just Do It party earlier, so a lot of people who are consuming social media who have those opinions about foreigners, it's kind of amplified through these things. Now, it's also a little bit fun, lighthearted. I think there are also a lot of Japanese people who just find it interesting and a little bit funny, like no harm, no foul here. But at the same time, it's just most of these things are just disrespectful that foreigners do, and it just shouldn't be done.
To the Japanese, like the gods go through these Torii gates, and you're using it as like there's a time and place for everything.
I don't know. Holy water is holy, right? I wouldn't expect it to be dirty, right? Okay. Speaking of Catholic churches and holy water and stuff, so here in Shibuya, there's a bar called The Church. So, me and my friends, we're out in Shibuya, and I say, hey, you guys want to go to church? And they're like, what do you mean? And it's like, I got you, follow me. Walk them a couple blocks. We go down one street where it has like a lot of different bars and whatnot. And you come up to the exterior. Let me see if I can pull this up. Look at this. The exterior of this looks like the entrance to an actual church, right? You see the doors, you see the cross, the name, the church, right? Looks great. Can we get some more photos on this? There we go. Let's look inside. Oh, it looks like a church aesthetic. You have some pews here, some seating. But what's this on the left side over here? What's that? Yep, that's a bar. Oh, there's a confessional. Great. Usually in front of here, there's no pew. It's a DJ booth up there. So this is a themed bar, which is really, really fun to go to. So you can go in there, order any kind of drinks that you want at the bar. It's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of a gimmick. The bartenders are all dressed as nuns. You can see over here, they're all dressed as nuns, having a good time. Usually techno house music going on. It's kind of a good vibe to just walk into church, grab yourself a gin tonic, sit down in the pews, and just have a good time talking with friends. And then you just say that your drink is holy water, right? You ask your friend, oh, what'd you get to drink? They're like, oh, gin tonic. What'd you get to drink? Oh, it's holy water with gin and tonic. I mean, if you ordered wine there, it'd be communion wine, right? Right? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Let's see what else is going on over here in Aki's. Okay, rule 1, she says, don't exercise at shrines. Great. Love it.
And likes, my god. It says the security at the Sobu Rapid Yokosuka line is bad. There are foreigners lining up their luggage in front of the doors. Die. Damn. Okay. Why do this?
I don't see a point in doing that at all. I don't understand why anybody would line up their luggage in front of a doorway, especially whenever there's a lot of storage space above the seating on trains for you to put your luggage or for you to just have it in front of you. Now, if the train was crowded and you're standing there with your luggage and it ends up blocking the doorway, like that's kind of shoganai, which is like the Japanese word for like it can't be helped. Like shoganai is not a bad thing. It's just it can't be helped. It's a crowded train. You need to travel with your suitcase to and from where you're going. So as long as you're not being obnoxious with it, it's fine. But just to purposefully line it up here, I feel like they did it for the photo. It's almost staged.
The doors. Die. Damn. Okay. Why do this? Do people just view Japan
why do this
just not
exactly?
of Earth? Like, I get it's different, but like, do you do this in your country? Bro, if you did this in America, somebody would be kicking your bags down just to get through.
Oh yeah. You did this in any other country, they would take your bags. Like that's just like that's like a free suitcase full of whatever's inside of it for you to take.
Like for me, I'm sorry, I wouldn't give a shit.
Oh,
I'd be
pickpocket.
like, get your ass. No, I'm kidding. No, am I kidding?
I feel like I'm like her. It's like, no, I think it would cross my head to just barge through there, like break through a barrier like it's a game and kind of enjoy it. Like that's not stopping me.
Let's just not try and test
like
that
the
out.
little
Hold on,
Stitch
how many
plush.
bags are here?
That's
1,
not
2,
stopping
3,
me.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. What is wrong with you? Oh my god! Like there's space over here on the left that I.
Yeah, this has to be staged. This has to be staged. I don't think that this is real. I think it's staged.
I can see you.
Like think about like you're traveling with your friends and you want kind of like a fun photo to kind of show off that you're in Japan, and so you just line up your luggage here because you know you have like 10 minutes before this train is actually going to leave, and you take just like a fun photo. Instead of all of your friends being in it, it's of all of your luggage. Like that seems like something that wouldn't be so harmful to do.
Sit down and just put your luggage case on the trains. There's literally shelves
Yeah,
for
exactly.
you to put your stuff on top. Nah, let me just put it in front of the door where people walk through. Like, yeah, these people should just like not travel at all. Like, I'm not even talking about Japan. Just like take away their passports. So this brings me up to rule number 2: don't put your stuff in front of the door.
I agree
where
with her.
People come in and out.
Use the proper
that would
areas
be
to store
not
your
very
luggage if you
nice.
need to.
Yeah.
If that's full
will
and you're
throw
on a
your
packed
shit.
train,
Anyone, I'm just
then
saying.
it's just like shoganai, like just be polite to other people. Hold your luggage close to you. One thing that you'll see a lot of people do in Japan, whenever it's crowded trains, so like Japanese people use the trains and walk a lot, so backpacks are very common, or bigger bags to carry things is very, very common. In the States, it's not so much because you drive, right? You can put all your stuff in your car, so you don't need to wear a backpack. You're not a student anymore, kind of thing. Well, here, everybody has their work laptop, maybe a change of clothes, a lot of other things that they're traveling with. So whenever the train is crowded during rush hour, everybody flips their backpacks to the front. So instead of having it on your back, you're wearing it on your front. And the reason why you can do that, why people do that, is it saves a little bit of space, because generally like your space in front of you is still like you still have enough to be on your phone or do whatever you need to do. And whenever you're standing up, that's kind of covered. People can easily move around you. So it saves space, people pack together. So whenever you're on a crowded train, just putting your luggage in front of you. And it's the same thing if you have a suitcase, just standing in front of you rather than to the side, as much as you can, will just be helpful to people around you.
Wow, something's wrong with me. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one also made it onto the news. A foreigner was found climbing on the roof of a combine.
This is actually crazy. Like, no matter how drunk you are, why are you wanting to climb on top of any kind of building?
In Shibuya. Huh?
That's not safe at all.
He's telling him to get down.
Yeah.
Is he drunk?
So this Family Mart looks like it's in Shibuya. Yeah, it's in Shibuya. I can see the kanji here at the top for it. Shibuya, as of last year, banned drinking on the streets. Like there's a public ordinance to stop drinking. It's because a lot of stuff like this was happening. Shibuya was becoming a very, very, I mean, it always was, but becoming even more so, a very popular spot for people to hang out outside at night, just drink, kind of socialize. You'd go from one convenience store to another convenience store. And, you know, it's kind of twofold. That's nice as being somebody who's enjoying it. But like as a business, you're not getting a lot of business because people, instead of going into bars, they're just hanging out around convenience stores. And then another bad thing is that it causes a lot of things like this to happen, which I don't know why people have the ideas to do it.
I know exactly where this is too. Why? What do you hope to achieve,
Kind of crazy.
dude? Wow, what a cool guy. Can I hang out with you sometime? You look so edgy. Wait, is this guy helping him get up? Oh my god. Oh my god.
There's no world where you should be climbing on things like that. Anything unsafe, just don't do it. Especially in a super big city like Tokyo, and one of the most famous spots, Shibuya. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. All right, let's jump over here to Chris's channel, Abroad in Japan. Let's see what he has.
Riding a bullet train without paying, breaking into an active construction site, begging locals for money, stealing food from a Kyoto hotel, or breaking into a truck. What do you want to do when you come to Japan?
Wow. People trying to make viral moments, or people just not having respect for things that are not their property. I think that's what a lot of these people are doing here. Crazy.
There seems to be a worrying trend now where foreign influencers are treating Japan like it's a cross between Disneyland and The Purge, a theme park.
Okay, Japan does kind of feel like a theme park. I will say that. I was running errands in Shibuya yesterday, and on the main streets over there, they have loudspeakers that's playing music, and occasionally they'll have an announcement of just like, "Oh, please be sure to drink water," or "Please don't walk with your while on your phone, as you can bump into other people," or talking about the ordinance about not drinking on the streets of Shibuya, and it sounds like announcements you would hear at a theme park, right? You're walking in public space on the streets doing your thing, and you're hearing music and these announcements. So it does kind of make it feel like it is like a vibe, or like a cohesive theme. Like this is Tokyo, Shibuya themed town, or whatever like that. So I mean, it kind of does feel like it sometimes. It doesn't give you any excuse to treat it that way.
Where rules don't matter and you can pretty much get away with anything. In a world where all that matters now is click-through rates on YouTube videos or audience retention on a kick stream, desperate creators are going to desperate lengths to get the attention they sorely crave. And unfortunately, it seems what better place to exploit people's kind-hearted nature and goodwill for content than here in Japan. Nuisance foreign influencers have been in the public news quite a bit in Japan over the last few months.
And again, going back to the Just Do It party, all of these things is what's gaining traction, right? Because politicians aren't able to campaign through these kind of paid means digitally, a lot of this viral things that happen, those political parties are able to just mention it on their channels and kind of gain more of that sentiment going over with it.
And with the release,
so like the more that it keeps happening, it's not necessarily something good, in my opinion.
A video just yesterday by YouTuber Phidias getting thrown off a Shinkansen for not paying, amongst other things. The topic looks set to make a very unwelcome comeback this week.
And this is also crazy, like purposefully not paying and then purposefully trying to cause a scene whenever you're called out on that. That's even more disrespectful, because I know how these train conductors approach people. They go through the trains, they're checking the list, and if they see that somebody's not where they're supposed to be, they're going to ask for their ticket. And if you don't have a ticket, or if you have the wrong ticket, maybe you didn't purchase the full ticket, maybe you just purchased like the ticket to use the train, but you didn't purchase the seat, and so they're going to let you know that you need to pay full price for the seat that you're in, or the car that you're in is a special car, you need to pay for it. They just politely let you know that, and then you can pay for it right there. They won't kick you out. They'll say, "Oh, you don't have the rest of this, so like you need to pay for this in order to stay here." So they have everything with them fully equipped to give you every opportunity to be in the right. Like they're not here to kick you off or put you in train jail. They're here to help you. So the fact that he's having to be pulled off the train and he's reacting like this, like he doesn't know, or like he doesn't really understand what's going on, or doesn't understand what this guy is saying, there's no excuse for that at all, because these people are very obvious as saying like, "Oh, you need to pay for this, and here's how you can do it."
So in this video, we'll take a look at who these dickheads are and what's been going on, as well as exploring how this has been playing out in Japan amongst both the public and the
I think I think both videos, Aki's video and Chris's video, are talking about a lot of people who are live streaming. But this happens with like I think a lot of what goes viral through Japanese like X on things like that, whenever it comes to some kind of racially charged people's group, is not because of streaming. This is more of like a foreigner tourist, but foreigners who are living in Japan, that's kind of a different thing. There was a Halloween several years ago, I think 2020, 2019, to where Shibuya Halloween was kind of crazy, and there's this viral scene of a little K truck in Shibuya that got flipped, and it was actually quite interesting. Here, let me replace my camera real fast. I'll be right back with that. There we go. So during that Halloween, there was a little K truck that got flipped. I don't know if you might have seen it. I think it went quite viral. Now the thing is that at the time that it got flipped, I'm pretty sure it was all like mixed group of Japanese people. But after it happened, there was a lot more foreigners that are hanging around there. So the viral clips were the ones mostly featuring the foreigners. So really, it made it seem like the foreigners were the ones that caused the scene. But I think from how I saw the videos, if I remember correctly, it was mostly a mix of Japanese people that were there. So, like, you know, it's just kind of like how you perceive things and how things are presented. But there's a lot of things that go on locally that aren't just streamers that have the same kind of result that we're seeing here.
Japanese government, because it certainly hasn't gone unnoticed. And look, this isn't just a foreigner YouTube problem. Japan has its own fair share of domestic
right. just I was saying, I'm literally watching this video with you guys, but yeah, it's the same point here.
YouTubers, and it's taken some pretty bizarre measures to counter them as well, as we'll see. But both as a foreigner living in Japan and as a YouTuber, naturally, I feel like this is something I need to talk about. Do I want to talk about it? No, I don't. As you know, I like talking.
I agree with Chris. I don't want to talk about this, and I don't really talk about this, but I felt like today would be a fun segment to kind of introduce the Sanseito party, because they're gaining traction. I think just for me living here, it's good to put on my radar to understand that kind of climate, how Japanese people are feeling, how they're voting, you know, where their sentiment is going, and then relate it to something that's more fun, right?
Talking about happy things. In fact, to produce this video, I had to completely
not gonna lie, it's kind of fun to watch people do crazy stuff.
Policy on YouTubers and streamers doing shitty things has always been to ignore them, for fear of bringing them any more attention. Back in September, Kick streamer Johnny Somali was arrested after repeatedly causing mayhem around the country, whether it was standing on a train with a loudspeaker harassing train passengers.
I think a lot of people were watching Johnny Somali whenever he was doing all of this stuff, because he just did so much that he was literally being chased around by police trying to find him based off of his live stream so that they could catch him. Like that's crazy.
Wandering onto a construction site and being thrown off by mortified workers, or of course breaking into a truck.
And poor workers. I was seeing clips of that. So like, workers really mind their own business. They're like peaceful butterflies in nature. Like they go to their site, they hang around there, they do their work. They're mostly cheerful with people that they work with. They're not bothering anybody, right? So like, why are you walking to them? Because I'm pretty sure that Japanese construction worker, his first thought was not that somebody's trespassing. It was that, oh, it's not safe here. You shouldn't be here because it's not safe. That's immediately the first thought that's likely to be had by these people. So they're just really concerned about people's safety there.
For lunch. For 6 months, frustratingly, he pretty much got away with it all. Had Johnny Somali been
wild.
in the UK, he would have discovered the definition of human punch bag very fucking fast. But
yep.
Unfortunately, in Japan, people go about their lives keen to avoid conflict or disputes, especially given how rare it all is. And when people see outlandish, disrespectful behaviour, they're far less likely to
is crazy, right?
Than they would in North America or Europe. And with the authorities
like just no respect for other people's boundaries.
For the longest time,
that's wild.
It got to the point where vigilante stream snipers were actively seeking him out, leading him to get knocked out by a foreign tourist.
Oh, I love that part. I love that part. Wait, can we watch that again?
Knocked out by a foreign tourist in what might be his second greatest stream. And during this time, I purposely avoided the topic.
Deserved.
I just didn't want to bring attention to someone like this, you know. There's no such thing, they say, as bad publicity. Fortunately, turns out there is. Eventually, Japanese media caught on to Johnny Somali, and in what was undeniably his greatest stream. He captured his own demise in real time as the police arrested him and tossed him into a cell where he's been for almost 2 months now.
Look at that.
He's formally charged with trespass.
Crazy psychopath.
Up to 3 years in jail, but that's pretty unlikely, and we can only hope.
Like, going into a foreign country and treating it as like an opportunity for you to do anything because the rules there are different, and that you're ultimately not going to suffer any major consequence because it's not your country of residence. That's wild to think like that. especially in Japan, especially a country that's so close to the US in a lot of different ways, that's not a smart thing to do. Also, it is absolutely not recommended to get into any kind of trouble with Japanese police, because there are ways that they'll detain you for months without any reason, without telling you exactly what's going on. Like there's some, like, I guess, shady things that could go on, and it's just not a good idea. Not shady as like bad or dangerous as some other places would. Like you're not just gonna like all of a sudden disappear, but like even I've had friends that have experienced this. I had a friend, he got mixed up into some stuff like trespassing on his old apartment by accident, and the police were called on him, and police arrested him for trespassing. And I mean, the reason was, you know, he was just drunk. He went to his old apartment. Somebody else was already living there. And so he broke into it thinking that it was his. He got arrested for it. He was gone for about 3 months. No one could contact him at all. For the first weekend, everybody's trying to like ask friends, like, hey, have you seen this person? Have you seen this person? Where are they at? Oh, their agency is looking for them. Like, what's going on? Thank God, like the agency that he's working for, he was a model. The agency had good connections and were able to like work on his behalf. Not everybody has that kind of like grace, but he just did something that was like you know, bad, maybe on accident, but it's just like scary, right? Scary that you would just disappear for several months for something that was done by accident.
Does get to stream his inevitable deportation sometime in the near future. But the damage had already been done, with one of Japan's most powerful politicians speaking out publicly about nuisance streamers, casting a bit of a shadow over regular streamers and YouTubers operating in Japan. And that takes us to now. This week in the relay race of dickhead influencers in Japan, the baton of flattery went from Johnny Somali to Cypriot
we talked a little bit about paying on the trains.
When he released a video called I Traveled Across Japan, national news in Japan.
People still feel the Logan Paul impact over here, honestly. I don't even want to touch base on this. Yeah, I'm sure you know about it, but yeah, it's just wild what people come here and try and film or try to seek out. Honestly, when it comes to a lot of supernatural things like this, there's a lot of cool things in Japan about it. Like in Kyoto, they have like these like ghost festivals, like demon festivals, which are a little bit haunting, but also kind of cool. If you're interested in any kind of like Japanese culture, it's a very, very unique aesthetic, unique experience to participate in. But also Japan just has a very different way of looking at a lot of, I guess, hauntings or sacred sites. Like they have their own perspective as well. So coming in and making light of that in some way is absolutely disrespectful. Crazy. Okay, I don't want to get into that. Let's see what Chris has to say at the end. See if he can wrap it up for us.
Was detained for 2 days after a string of questionable activities, including stealing sashimi from a supermarket and laying down a mattress in the middle.
That's kind of funny, though. That's kind of funny.
Well,
it's kind of funny.
Then this year, somewhat bizarrely, in the run-up to hosting the G7 summit, the Japan Self-Defense Force ran a series of exercises in anticipation of an attack. In this case, in the event that a YouTuber should try to break into a base belonging to the Japan Self-Defense Force, which they reacted to by swarming the individual and searching their car.
So
and let's face it, it's the one Logan Paul video.
I absolutely love how cute Japan can be sometimes. Like with that example of the Japan Defense Force staging what it would be like so they could show the public how prepared they are in case a YouTuber tried to invade their base, right? It's kind of humorous and cute at the same time that they would put so much effort to go in there. And I love Japan because they do stuff like that. Like it does show a little bit of like public confidence that they're prepared, they're doing something about it. Okay, that's great. It's just the manner that they do it is so cute. They hired a lady to go with her iPhone to act like she's a YouTuber, to be a little bit aggressive. They swatted her with 3 police officers right there against her car. Just not as wild as any of the videos or stuff that we're looking at before. She's literally just with a selfie stick outside of her car, getting attacked by the defense force. But I just think it's so funny. It's so funny how they do it. It's cute. It's great.
That we all
That was fun. I like that. Always funny. See what's going around Japan. Like a lot of my social media is filled with all that kind of stuff.